Well, we've just left our campsite and cycled into Lohals Harve, the harbour. You can see there's some shelters you can hire overnight, and these ones are actually on the water, so they go up and down with the tide, and they take, I think, 4 people, something like that. There's bunks and mattresses inside, and you get the facilities of showers and toilets. We have to book them, and we were too late, but we're also flush with funds. It's a lovely morning. We're all sparkling clean, cleaned our teeth. Head off back to Rudkobring. We've made it back to Rudkobring. We're about to head off over the bridge. We just need to cross over to the cycle track on the other side. That's the port we came into. There are the troops. We've done 40 kilometres this morning. We've got 20 more into Svendborg. Somewhere over there. Lots of midges. And that was where we were camping overnight, right up there. That's looking towards the Foon and Svendborg. 20k down there we need to go. Looking down to Rudkobring and the port down there. Looking back to where we spent the night, and the bridge back into Langeland. You can tell who's carrying all the gear. It's why I'm at the back. You have to do 50 kilometres an hour down here. I'll do my best. I've got your best side. You got a cherub throttling a swan. I think that's our one. The Hogestein. MF Hogestein. It's the one up here. So we're going from here, and we go all the way. I think we stop at Skaro, and then we go around and then go to Drejo. So Svendborg, it's quite cosmopolitan, isn't it? I've never heard of this place. Anyone who lives at Langeland has to drive over that bridge on a Sunday. It's the law. Do you know that? It was incessant, wasn't it?
It was.
You think they'll all be at church? So as you can see, we're on board the ferry. No cars yet. There's people walking around with large ice creams, and today's very muggy. I could do with a large ice cream. There's 3 cars waiting. Anchor. 3 cars waiting. We've just seen a coach, a tourist fart. So we don't know what's on Drejo. Hopefully there's somewhere we can buy some bacon and eggs and stuff. Goodbye, Svendborg. tucked up because it's August. Chance of rain. Just arriving in Scarrow. Turns out no one wanted to get on and no one wanted to get off. So that was a quick call. If sea levels rose by about another half a metre, Scarrow would cease to exist, I think. That's looking back at Scarrow. We think this is Drejo or Drejo coming up here. Front. Very low in the sea. We're having curry tonight. Chicken curry and rice. In our little cabin. And Fimbo's even found himself a chair. Chicken curry time.
I'm not detecting much curry flavour.
There's no curry.
The steam coming up.
Well, the weather was kind to us this morning. We went for a swim in the nuddy. Just had our bacon and scrambled eggs for breakfast. I've got a wasp right next to me. Go away, wasp. Drying out from our swim. That was the children's bivouac last night. There's a side door. A door right at the very end, that's for your kit. Bikes. I'll take you up and show you our little bunker in here. Ooh, you can open up all the side bits. That's down the lane. And there's sort of an area you can sun yourself. We've made here. Have a bit of a barbie. And that's the lovely beach. Yachts out to sea. We've cycled right to the tip, the other end of, well, we would say Drejo. It might be Drejo or Drejo. Don't quite know how they pronounce it. Oh, that looks quite a fall out there. And we think that's Aero or Sobu over there. Sobi. Nice white beam hedge, all the berries nearly ready for the all the blackbirds. Lots of small white butterflies all over the Rosa rugosa. I like whatever that is. We're cycling back to the port. Downhill. What's that? That. No one behind me. See them behind me. All the Danish houses aren't, the traditional house isn't like an English house. It seems to be very barn based. Sort of, the French would call Arc de Femme. So nice straight road. There's a bit of high ground at the end of the island, and then there's a causeway in a low patch where it must go through some salt marsh. So in high seas, this end of the island might get cut off. So, impressions of Denmark. What do I know about Denmark? Apparently they claim to be the world's or Europe's biggest exporter of Christmas trees. We've seen 2 fields of Christmas trees, but by comparison with the fields in England, they're tiny, so they must grow those somewhere else. The farming we've seen, it's very rural, but it's all very small scale agriculture, small scale farming, almost small holding type. I imagine the topography dictates that. You're aware of Danish bacon. We haven't seen a pig since we've been here. And I imagine they're in the sheds inside. We can certainly hear them and smell them. We see cattle, the typical Frisians, but a whole mix. Different sorts of cattle. Again, on not massive herds, but at least they're outside. It's very lush everywhere because it hasn't stopped raining for the last month or so, so it's very green. What else do I know about Denmark? They have the Order of the Elephant. I think Nelson had that. Battle of Copenhagen, wasn't it? And then Sandy Totsvig. What else do we know? Other Great Danes, the Great Dane dog. And now we know a bit more. We know the names of the few islands, a few places. Victor Borge, wasn't he Danish? And there was a model, wasn't it? Bridget Nielsen, was she Danish? Don't know. And I thought there'd be lots of coffee shops and places to get a Danish pastry, but it's so rural. The villages tend not to have many village shops or be all that big, but it could just be we're in a very rural area on the islands. But we're going to go back to the harbour, back to Fyn, and it's an hour and 15 minutes back to Svendborg. We're going to fill up some water, have an ice cream, and then head out to tonight's hit point. It's the end of August. The house martins and the swallows are still here. The Danes like to have a trailer. Nearly every house has a trailer parked outside. And we're now approaching the village. Right, we've entered the village. Quite a lot. We see little stalls outside every house. Not every house, many of the houses have little offerings, produce from the vegetable garden, or flowers, or knickknacks and vases, or old children's bicycles. Which way do we go? Straight on, don't we? Oh, there's the oh, I've mucked that up. I'll come up here and we'll go around some bird boxes. We'll go around the block. This is actually the main square in the middle of the island, I think, or the square of roads. See if I can come around here. There's a lot of thatch everywhere. What we would think more medieval. Seems to be a lot of building in the earlier 20th century, judging by the dates on the houses. And then just here is where the local shop is on the island, where we stopped off helped the economy by buying some bacon and eggs yesterday for our breakfast this morning. And then if we turn left here, if I've got my bearings, this should take us back. Here we are, you've been here before. This should take us back to the port harbour. Needless to say, there aren't many cars on the island. You can hire bicycles and things like that. Morning. Hi. Hi. There we go. It's funny, isn't it? Some people you say hello or hey to or morning, and they come back to you and say hello, good morning. And others, they look at it like from another planet. So we're seeing it in both its temperaments. We had the cold and the wind and the rain yesterday when we arrived, and now we're basking in balmy, breezy weather. Well, there's a ferry. I hope that's not ours. Let's hope that's not our ferry. We'll keep going, speed up a bit, flying the flag, which I think's called, it's got a name, the Danish flag. White crest on a red background, it's the opposite to the English flag. I think they called it something like the Danbrog or something like that. They always proudly claim that it's the oldest flag in the world, but whether that's just any truth to that, I don't know. The flag has to be flown at a certain height. You have to have a permission to fly it. It's the only flag you're allowed to fly, although you are allowed to fly other flags of the surrounding Scandinavian countries to Denmark and the European flag. If you want to fly any other flag, I think you have to have a license. And then they also have a streamer, which is probably a bit better in the strong winds. And it has to be, what did I say, 5 times the flag. The flag pole has to be 5 times the height of the width of the flag. And then you can only put it up after 8 o'clock in the morning, and have to take it down before 6 o'clock at night or something like that. So they're very proud of their flags. So as we all are. There's a lovely sailing schooner or something out of that. I'm sure the sailors amongst you will tell me it's something different. And we're back to the, hopefully, on time. Back to our friends running the boat. I'll show you a map of the island. So, to put it in context, we came across from over here somewhere to Soby, then we went all the way, spent overnight about there, and then went to Marstel, caught the ferry up to Rudkobing, then we went all up to Low Hulls, and we cycled all the way back, went across the bridge to Svendborg, took the ferry to Drejo. Now we're going to go back to there, and then we're going to go up here somewhere, I think. And you certainly, there's a bigger map of Drejo. So we arrived here, we cycled up, got something to eat, went down to these cabins on the beach. This morning we cycled up and we went all this straight road across that sort of marsh causeway to Drejo Skov or Skoven, right to the cliffs at the end, and then all the way back again. So we haven't done all the island, but it's a lovely, like most of Denmark, it has a very calm feeling. There's a lot of traffic when we're going around Hamburg, and then all the way up to Flensborg on the border, and then when you get into Denmark, the traffic faded away a bit. It might have just been the time of the day when we were arriving, but certainly on the first part of our cycle, it was quite smelly. Smelled of poo, cow poo, pig poo, but it might just be the time of year when they're mucking out, getting ready, clearing everything out, ready for the winter, muck spreading. And above me I can hear the flag fluttering in the breeze, and the Danish cycling infrastructure is second to none. It puts us in the shade, and their picnic areas, and so much is done on trust. I mean, those places we stayed last night, they said if you find them free and they're available, get on this app, book them, which we did, and I think it cost us something like £14. So, which was reasonable, but if that was in England, there'd be beer bottles strewn everywhere and it'd be set on fire within a week, I reckon. And so many of the things they're selling by the side of the road are honesty boxes. I can vouch that the sea was lovely once you're in. Very shallow, nice and sandy. Go for a wander down the marina. There's Molly. Don't know where they're all from. They seem to be a fair few German boats, I think, sailing out of Kiel. It's a yachtsman's paradise around here. I'll walk you right to the end and we'll take a shot of Ruthers before he crashes off into the water. There we are. Here's a swallow. You think they'd put something, I suppose that's a deeper water in there. Looking back at that. Hodgestein. Just waiting for us to pop on board. This looks like the Kramkrabben. So you can come crabbing. I've just looked over the edge and there are a lot of crabs in there. You can go catching them. I don't know, it looks like you can eat them probably. Whether you can take them there and they cook them up, or they're too small to eat. I don't know, I'm not a fisherman. Looks like you can, doesn't it? And around here you can take your little trolley for wheeling stuff in and out.